Whether you're thinking about it or not, you're becoming someone. Every choice you make is contributing to who that person becomes. The way you respond when you're frustrated, the promises you keep to yourself, what you do when you're afraid, how you treat people when you're hurt, or how you treat yourself when you make a mistake. Whether you speak up or stay quiet, whether you follow through or give yourself an out. All of these seemingly ordinary moments are shaping you. So, what if instead of leaving that process entirely to habit, conditioning, and circumstance, you participated in it? What if you consciously identified the qualities you want to strengthen and embody, and then started using them to guide the way you navigate your life? That's what I call your inner compass. And today, we're going to build yours. Before we begin, let's quickly reconnect with the Oiaré model. Oiaré is built on 4 interconnected elements that shape how you experience and navigate life: architecture, elevation, inner compass, and choice. Your architecture includes the beliefs, conditioning, emotional patterns, habit, perspectives, and meaning that have developed throughout your life. Your elevation is the state you're experiencing life from a particular moment, okay? In that moment. And then we come to a third part, your inner compass. And your inner compass is your consciously chosen direction. It's the qualities and values that you want to develop, strengthen, and embody in the way you live. And it answers one of the most important questions in Oiaré. Who am I practicing becoming? And here's why I think that question matters so much. You don't get to decide whether your experiences shape you. You're already doing that, right? What you repeatedly think, what you repeatedly do, what you avoid, what you practice, what you tolerate, the people you surround yourself with, the meaning you assign to your experiences, all of it contributes to who you become. And much of that happens without us consciously deciding anything. And that's what we talked about with architecture, right? You accumulate beliefs and patterns throughout your life. Some you intentionally developed, many you didn't. But once you can see what's shaping you, something changes. You can participate in what happens next. You get to decide then. I want to become more courageous, or more compassionate, or more disciplined, more curious, more patient, more present, more honest, more playful, more resilient, whatever genuinely matters to you. Okay. And then you can begin practicing those qualities in the actual moments of your life. Because what you repeatedly practice doesn't just change what you do. Over time, it changes who you are. Your inner compass gives growth a direction. Okay, think about an actual compass. A compass doesn't walk the path for you. It doesn't remove the obstacles. It doesn't tell you exactly what you're going to encounter along the way. But it gives you something incredibly important. It gives you direction. And we all need direction, because without it, it's very easy to spend your life trying to become vaguely better, or more successful, or more productive, more confident, more organized, less anxious, less reactive, more motivated. But toward what? Right? You can spend years trying to improve yourself without ever stopping to ask, what kind of person am I actually trying to become? Your inner compass gives you all of that growth direction, okay? Instead of simply asking, how can I improve myself? You begin asking, what do I want to strengthen within myself? What qualities do I want to become known to myself for? How do I want to move through my life? That's a very different kind of growth. And practicing is really how becoming happens. And this is why I use the language, who am I practicing becoming? Because both parts of that sentence matter. Becoming gives you direction, and practicing is how you get there. If you repeatedly practice courage, you become more courageous. If you practice discipline, you become more disciplined. If you repeatedly approach situations with curiosity instead of immediately assuming you know the answer, you become more curious. If you practice compassion, you become more compassionate. Eventually, some of the things that once required a lot of conscious effort start to become more natural. You have changed, you've developed new patterns, you've strengthened different capacities. Those qualities have become more deeply rooted in who you are. What you practice becomes part of you. And that's important because your inner compass isn't pointing towards some imaginary perfect version of yourself that you're never going to reach. You really can change. You really can develop these qualities. You really can become different from who you've been. But becoming courageous doesn't mean you'll never be afraid. Becoming compassionate doesn't mean you'll never lose your patience. Becoming disciplined doesn't mean you'll never have an unmotivated day. Being curious doesn't mean you'll never jump to a conclusion. Okay, these qualities become part of you, but you still have to decide how you're going to express them in the moment that matters. Your inner compass is not a list of what's wrong with you. Okay, and I want to make that important distinction right here. Your inner compass is not a list of everything you think you need to fix about yourself. It is very easy to hear, who do I want to become? And immediately start thinking, well, I need to be more disciplined. I should be more productive. I need to stop being so sensitive. I should be more confident. I need to get my life together. The list goes on and on. But that's not what we're doing. Your inner compass isn't built from what's wrong with me. Instead, it's built from what matters to me. What qualities do I genuinely value? What qualities do I want to experience more deeply within myself? How do I want to show up in my relationships? How do I want to respond when life doesn't go according to plan? How do I want to treat myself? How do I want to move through the world? There's nothing wrong with wanting to change. Growth requires change. But there's a big difference between I need to become different so that I'm feeling enough and I get to practice in who I become from here. And your inner compass is about that second one. Okay. Another thing to remember, make sure it's actually your compass. There's another reason we need to be thoughtful about this, because it's possible to build an inner compass entirely out of other people's expectations. Maybe you think you should become more successful, more productive, more agreeable, more accomplished, more available, more attractive, more impressive. But before you put something on your compass, ask, why does this matter to me? Because sometimes what sounds like direction is actually old conditioning. Maybe successful really means people will respect me. Maybe easygoing really means nobody will be upset with me. Maybe productive really means and I'll feel like I've earned the right to rest. That's architecture. And it can quietly build your compass for you if you're not paying attention. So we're going to go deeper than who do I think I should be? And we're asking what qualities genuinely matter to me. Not because they'll make me more impressive, not because they'll make everyone approve of me, because they're qualities I genuinely want to embody in the way I live. Okay, so what does this look like in real life? Let's make this practical. Imagine someone criticizes you at work. Immediately, your architecture gets involved. Maybe criticism has historically meant to you that you're failing or that you're not good enough. So your body responds, your elevation drops, you feel defensive, you want to explain yourself, you want to prove them wrong. Maybe you shut down, or maybe you replay the conversation in your head for the next 3 hours. That's your current experience. And your inner compass isn't asking you to pretend none of this is happening. Instead, it gives you another piece of information. Who am I practicing becoming in this moment? Let's say the 3 qualities on your inner compass are curiosity, courage, self-respect. Okay? Now you have direction. Curiosity might sound like, is there something useful here that I can learn? Courage might mean staying in the conversation instead of shutting down. And self-respect might remind you, I can consider someone's feedback without making their opinion the definition of me. You can still feel defensive. You can still disagree. You can still feel uncomfortable. Okay? Your inner compass doesn't erase your emotional experience. It gives you a direction within it. And every time you practice one of these qualities, you're strengthening it. All right, let's build your inner compass now. So now we're going to build it. So grab a piece of paper, your journal or the notes app on your phone. At the top, write, who am I practicing becoming? And underneath that, I want you to identify somewhere between 3 and 5 qualities, okay? Not 15, not 20. The point isn't to create a complete description of your ideal self. You're identifying a few qualities that are important enough to help orient you. If you're not sure what yours are, I'm going to give you a few questions, okay? So don't overthink them. Just notice what comes up. All right, first question. When life gets difficult, how do I want to meet it? Maybe your answer is with courage, with calm, with resilience, with curiosity, with patience. Don't worry about writing the perfect word yet. Just notice what comes up. If you need to pause the video at any point, do that. All right, question 2. How do I want the people I love to experience me? Okay, maybe you want them to experience you as present, compassionate, playful, honest, dependable, open, patient. Again, notice what matters to you. Pause if you need to. All right, question 3. How do I want to experience myself? This one matters, okay, because your inner compass isn't only about who you are for everyone else. Maybe you want to experience yourself as courageous, creative, capable, self-respecting, adventurous, disciplined, free, present, calm, okay? Question 4. What qualities do I deeply admire when I see them in other people? Sometimes admiration gives us information, okay? Maybe you're drawn to people who are incredibly curious or warm or brave or grounded, generous, authentic, playful. You don't need to become that person, but you may be recognizing a quality that matters deeply to you. All right, now look for the pattern, okay? Look at everything you've written. What keeps appearing? What words immediately feel important to you? Which ones make you think, yeah, I want more of that in the way I live? Or, um, yeah, this is it, right? So now narrow your list down to 3 or 5 qualities. These become the starting point of your inner compass. And don't worry about whether you picked the perfect ones, okay? Your compass can evolve as you do. This is simply your direction right now. Don't disqualify something because you're not there yet, though, okay? So that's something important to watch. Maybe one of your words is discipline, and immediately you think, well, I'm not very disciplined. And that's okay. You're not filling out a personality assessment or a resume. Maybe discipline is on your compass precisely because it's something you want to develop. Maybe courage matters because fear has made too many decisions for you. Maybe patience matters because you notice how quickly you become frustrated. Maybe self-respect matters because you spend years prioritizing other people's approval over your own needs. Your inner compass isn't simply describing who you are today. It's helping you shape who you are becoming. Okay, now it's important to define what each quality actually means to you. And that will really make the compass more useful. Because words like courage, compassion, and discipline can mean different things to different people. So next to each quality, finish this sentence. For me, this means da 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 da, okay? For example, courage. For me, this means saying what needs to be said even when I feel uncomfortable, okay? For presence, maybe for me, this means being where I am instead of constantly rushing towards what's next. For self-respect, for me, this means not abandoning myself to earn someone else's approval. Another example. Okay, for curiosity, for me, this means getting interested before getting certain. Okay, this part matters because now these aren't just nice words you've written on the page. You're defining what they mean in your life. Okay, now let's turn the words into something you can practice. So ask yourself one more question. What does this look like when I actually practice it? Because ultimately, you don't become courageous by writing the word courage on a piece of paper, right? You become courageous through moments of courage. Maybe courage looks like having the conversation you've been avoiding. Presence might look like putting your phone down when someone you love is talking to you. Self-respect might look like saying no without writing a 5-paragraph explanation. Curiosity might mean asking another question before assuming someone's intentions. Discipline might mean following through on something you promised yourself even when you don't feel motivated. Compassion might mean changing the way you speak to yourself after you make a mistake. These moments can seem small, but they're not. Because every time you practice a quality, you're reinforcing it. You're creating another pattern, another piece of evidence, another experience of yourself. And over time, you're becoming. Sometimes behavior comes before feeling, okay? Actually, very often. So here's something I want you to remember. You don't have to feel courageous before you practice courage. You don't have to feel disciplined before you act with discipline. You don't have to feel patient before you practice patience. Oftentimes, the action comes first. You might be terrified and still speak. You might be completely unmotivated and still follow through. You might feel irritated and still respond with patience. Every time you do, you strengthen your capacity to do it again. That is the magic moment. Those moments are the key, okay? And eventually you may look back and realize, I really am more courageous than I used to be. I have become more disciplined. I am more compassionate. That's not pretending to be someone you're not. That's stepping into that someone that you weren't yet and you're becoming right now. And it's important to remember you will still go off course. You can't live according to your inner compass perfectly every moment of every day. None of us can. There'll be times you'll react, you'll fall into old patterns, you'll avoid something, you'll say something you regret. You'll make a decision and later realize that wasn't how I wanted to show up. And this is where the compass metaphor becomes especially useful. Okay? If you're hiking and realize you're wandered off course, your compass doesn't judge you. It doesn't become useless because you walked in the wrong direction. It still points. And once you recognize where you are, you can use it to return. Your inner compass works the same way. You don't need to turn one bad choice into an identity. You don't need to say, I always do this. Gosh, I'm stupid, or I'm just not disciplined, or I'll never get this right, or I'm not patient. I can't do this. You can simply recognize instead, that wasn't my direction, and the next choice gives you another opportunity to return to it. Your compass matters most when it's hard, okay? Your inner compass becomes most useful when something is pulling you in the opposite direction. It's easy to practice patience when nobody is testing your patience. It's easy to practice courage when nothing scares you. It's easy to practice compassion when you haven't been hurt. And of course, it's easy to practice discipline when you're highly motivated in the moment. The moments that challenge these qualities are also the moments that give you an opportunity to strengthen them. That's when you ask, what am I practicing becoming here? Not someday, not once everything is easier. Here, right now, in this conversation, in this disappointment, in this conflict, in this opportunity, in this ordinary moment when nobody else even knows you're making choices, in this discomfort. This is where Oiaré starts coming together. Okay? And now you can begin to see how these pieces work together. Your architecture helps you recognize the patterns shaping your experience. Your elevation helps you recognize the state you're experiencing the moment from. Your inner compass reminds you of your direction. And then we arrive at the fourth element, choice. Because eventually, knowing your direction has to become something you do. And that's where the Oiaré practice comes together. Elevate, observe, return, and choose. Elevate enough to widen your perspective, observe what's happening within you, return to your inner compass, and then choose your response. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about that final piece, choice. the magic choice. That space where you stop allowing your first reaction to automatically determine what happens next. Before you leave today, finish your inner compass, identify your 3 to 5 qualities, okay? Define what each one means to you, and think about what each one actually looks like when practiced in your life. Then put your compass somewhere you can return to it, your phone, your journal, your desk, somewhere you'll actually see it and be reminded of it. And sometime today, when you encounter a choice, even a small one, ask, given these circumstances, who am I practicing becoming? Then practice one choice in that direction. Because who you're becoming isn't shaped only by the huge decisions in your life, it's actually shaped in the ordinary ones. The conversation where you practice patience, the boundary where you practice self respect, the uncomfortable moment where you practice courage, the promise you keep where you practice discipline, the mistake where you practice compassion. One choice doesn't define you, but choices repeated become patterns, and patterns become part of your architecture, and over time, they become part of you. Whether you're thinking about it or not, you're becoming someone. Your inner compass gives you the opportunity to participate in who that someone becomes. So know your direction, practice it, and when you get pulled off course, return. And remember, live by direction, not by reaction.